My name is Philip Harrelson. I'd like to welcome you back again to the Barnabas study, and been spending several weeks, about 3 weeks now. This is maybe the last video that I do here about Brother Harrell for the next little while. I think I may be getting a little redundant with some of it. However, I have talked to you about some of about Brother Harrell's books, and various other things, and most of those books in fact all of those books that I have mentioned to you, they have been more religious in nature, homiletic, preacher sort of things that Brother Harrell over the years kind of shared with me. However, Brother Harrell did read fiction, and some of the authors that he had shared, obviously, I think most preachers from my age group, guys that are in their 50s, I don't know if this holds true for guys that's in their 40s. I don't know, but certainly not your 30s or 20s. But there was one writer that a lot of us read, and that was Louis L'Amour. Louis L'Amour was a Western writer, and by and large, most of his books were Westerns, Wild West, various things like that. And I think he's written 90 to 95 Westerns, and I've got that set, the little leatherette set, and that's at my home. And I've read all of those, several of them I've read more than once. Comstock Lode, I've read several times. I've read that one. Obviously, his tales about the Sacketts that I have read, all of those. The Sacketts were a group, family that he kind of centered his stories around. And then there was another writer who was also a Western writer. His name was Zane Grey. And Zane Grey was not quite as popular as what Louis L'Amour was, especially during the 70s and 80s, and even in the 90s is when Louis L'Amour was kind of at his height. I say 80. He passed away in his 80s. Ronald Reagan gave him one of those presidential honor, medals of honor, or whatever they call it, recognizing him for his work. But Brother Harrell did read Zane Grey. He read Louis L'Amour. And then there was another writer that Brother Harrell sort of turned me on to, and I'd never heard of him. And this is a fellow by the name of Bernard Cornwell. And he's written a series of books about, this one is called Sharp's Tiger. I've got it's got Sharp's Tiger, Sharp's Devil, Sharp's Havoc, and Sharp's Rifles. And these are stories that talks about Lieutenant Richard Sharp, and just kind of tells a story about his life and what all he was involved in, various wars, and the books are listed. I think there are probably 20 to 25 that's in this series, and each one of them have a year. Sharp's Havoc, 1809, Portugal. Sharp's Devil, Chile, 1820. Sharp's Tiger, India, 1799. And so those all surround the story of Richard Sharp. And then he's written several others. This is one called The Grail Quest. The first volume is called The Archer's Tale, and then the second one is called Vagabond. And this is another. He's also got several. He's got some that are written on the Revolutionary War that covers America. Various others. He's got some that even deals in with the area of the Vikings. And Brother Harrell told me one time that whenever he was having some church issues and church challenges, he said that what he would do is, he said sometimes he'd just get in the car and drive off somewhere, and he'd have a book, have one of these Bernard Cornwell books with him, and hole up somewhere in a little coffee shop. It's odd that I mentioned it just came. Brother Jeff Arnold did the same thing. And Brother Harrell was every day, he was either in Paisanos, which is an Italian restaurant there in Gainesville. He had another place that he went to. There was a Mexican restaurant that he would go and hang out in, and there was another one, and this is not to write, I'm going to make up the name, but the 42nd Street Deli It was a deli. I don't remember. He was one of the streets there in Gainesville, or he would go to Sonny's Barbecue. And Brother Arnold would do the same thing. He'd hold up in the corner. Now, Brother Arnold did it every day. He was that's where he studied at. He didn't study at church. And that's another thing about the uniqueness of preachers, that you go out and you just kind of find what makes them tick, where do they do their work at, what habits do they have. And but Brother Harrell told me, he said there were times where just the pressures of pastoring and dealing with just the challenges of the problems of various people and situations. And he said he'd get a book, and he would go off somewhere, and restaurant, coffee shop somewhere there in the Bridge City, Port Arthur, Beaumont area. And he said he'd just sit down, and he said he'd just read, just an escape, to just kind of get his mind away from that whatever challenge he was dealing with. And I do think that there's some merit to that, where that if you're gonna, some people say if you're gonna be a leader, you got to be a reader. Or all reader. I don't know that all readers are leaders, but most leaders are readers. And but he would kind of zone out with those fictional books. And so I just thought I'd mention that to you. We live in a day where increasingly we're getting more and more toward ebooks, and if those work for you, that's good. But I still like to hold a book in my hand. So I thought I would just pass along to you some of the reading habits that Brother Harrell had, particularly in the area of fiction. If there were other books of fiction, he never really discussed that with me. Of course, the majority I wanted to know about commentaries and sermons and Bible studies and various things like that. But I thought that may be interesting to you. And so with that, I'll tell you again, we'll tell you I appreciate you stopping in to be here with us today. And certainly the church in Bridge City, everything was just top shelf. They had that facility just top-notch condition. And when we come back after the graveside, and by the way, Brother Murray Ray did a fantastic job there at the graveside. And we even sang a song, an old hymn. I can't remember exactly which one it was. It slips my mind. I'll remember it here 30 minutes after this video is over. But Brother Ray did a tremendous job there at the graveside. And so I certainly would salute the church there at Bridge City, the meal afterwards. And then when everybody started kind of drifting out, all the guests, people picked up and started helping and cleaning up and putting things back together. And I kind of got reconnected with Brother Ken Raggio and his son Chad. And we sat there for quite a long while, probably an hour and a half maybe, there in the gym or the Family Life Center. I'm not sure what they call it. But it was just, again, a great time of fellowship. And so I hope these videos maybe have kind of let you in a little bit, opened up the door a little bit to Brother Harrell and the group that was there. I walked in, and you got Brother Mark Hughes, Brother Ron Macy, Brother Dennis Clark, obviously Brother Murray Ray, Brother David Elms. And you look around and you're like, what in the world am I doing here with these men? Certainly didn't feel qualified, but obviously Brother Harrell had a diverse group of men that he connected with, and I certainly, the 20 years that he invested in me is something that I'll treasure forever. So, Lord bless you. Again, thanks for stopping by. Until the next time, we'll see you later.